get. Okay, let me just.
Oh, no, it just fell.
Yeah.
Hold on, maybe I don't need that light. Jesus, what a day. Okay. And how are you doing?
I'm improving. I'm well, thank you. Okay. Yeah.
So, so what has changed?
What has changed? My blocked ears are no longer blocked. Okay. And so that makes an enormous difference to my quality of life. Okay.
To hear? Yes.
Yeah, to hear, I mean, I could hear before, but it was like in an echo chamber. And it did also reduce the quality of hearing, but the echoing was terrible. And when I chewed any food, it would echo. And
Oh, yeah. Everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So anyway, I went and had my. I tried to syringe my ears myself, and I think that just didn't work for some reason or other. And so I went and had them syringed, and immediately, hey presto, okay, up came big blobs of stuff. and,
It happens.
yeah, yeah, it probably happens. I think from my minor research that I've done, that do. I think certain people just don't have any problem because the wax in the air dries out and it falls out naturally. But as you get older, apparently, it doesn't dry out that easily, and so it then sits around. And anyway, it's gone. And thanks for your participation in that healing too. Okay, appreciate it. Uh,
Absolutely.
Absolutely, it's great.
Yeah, because it happened to me a couple years ago, right before the pandemic.
Mm,
I couldn't hear out of this one ear.
yeah,
And so the doctor's like, looking in my ear and saying, "Oh, I don't see any buildup, wax buildup. I'll send you to a audiologist." Right? She takes one look at it and she's like, "You've got an impacted ear." And she tried to, maneuver it, and it was just way too painful.
yeah,
And then I went and saw the ENT doctor right away, and he put a bunch of water in there and popped it out,
yeah.
you know?
That's exactly what
And
I had done. Warm water, and out it came. Yeah.
did he do it really hard? It sounded like there was like a tidal wave in my ear.
Um, Actually, the nurse that did it was very gentle. Okay. Yes, did sound like a tidal wave, but it didn't. It particularly hurt. And they discovered my eardrums were red, and so they had some sort of infection. So, but it came
That's what I
out.
had too. Yeah.
Okay, and then
And I do eardrops.
yeah, I do eardrops as well. It was about a week ago now, and they said do it for a week, so I'm not doing it today. Yeah. So
Yeah. So did you find out what the wax is all about? I looked up what wax is.
no, I didn't even think of doing that. I look up so many other things, but tell me what wax is.
Well, it's fat. It's
Mm,
fat and like, excess, things that the body's, trying to get rid of waste
mm,
wise. But
mm,
mainly it's if you have a high fat diet and, sugar and it can't move, right? And then I don't know if you use Q-tips, ear.
mm.
No. Well,
Yeah,
I did at that time and I was pushing that darn thing down. And plus my eustachian tube, you know, has some kind of deformity in it. So wax cannot flow smoothly like other people's.
Okay. Okay.
And this has happened once before, but not as bad as it happened a couple years ago. So that's what it is. You know, when you were a kid, did you never smell it? It smells awful, you know?
Can't
Like
recall
kids, you got to
now.
smell and taste everything.
Okay.
The smell alone turned me off. But
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
but
Yeah.
that's what it
Interesting.
is. So once,
Okay.
so now it shouldn't really happen to you because you've changed your diet, see?
Yeah.
So less
Yes.
sugar, less, fat that in your biome and everything all works all together like
Right.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. But yeah, it shouldn't happen again because very much on low fat now and no added sugar. Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah, so that's there's a lot of things I never knew about eating because I can hear people. Do you know Felix Unger from The Odd Couple?
no.
Okay, so Felix would make this noise, and it would be like his sinuses, right? And it'd be like a honking kind of noise,
Mm,
right?
mm,
And I hear this guy after lunch, time, he's like honking like a goose, and I want to go tell him, I think you're gluten intolerant.
mm.
Because he's building up all that histamine,
Yeah.
right? And so the body's trying to get rid of it. Yeah, so
Okay.
anyway,
Interesting. Yeah.
very interesting because I noticed it too when I would eat bread or something, with a lot of gluten in it. But that's how they were raised. Let's have a sandwich for lunch, with
Mm.
lunch meat and cheese and mayonnaise and mustard and a little
Yeah.
side of chips, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Uh,
hmm
what are the other symptoms of being allergic to gluten?
Well, you make that noise after you eat it. Um, some kind of sometimes your colon, right, if you eat enough of it, it gets spastic, right, because it's just trying to the histamine, see, the hormones are being shot out that are making you inflamed, right,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
wherever they can go there, it's inflaming you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the
Okay.
histamine that's reacting with
Okay.
it and
Talking
trying to
about
help you.
talking about cleansing. You know, it's full moon now. Okay.
Mm.
And I'm particularly interested to ask you a question because full moon is the right time for physical detox. Okay. And there are various physical detoxes, and there's certain types of natural foods that are ideal to combine and detox to get rid of parasites. Okay. That's what you want to do. You want to get rid of parasites every full moon, okay, or whenever you're able to. And but that made me think about how does the full moon affect the chakras, okay, and maybe the energy in the body, the nervous system. And
Everything is tuning up, right, to interact with the energy of that full moon. So everything, if it's a low vibrating chakra, then it's it won't get what it needs, right, from that energy pull of the new moon, which is a new beginning. This is where you start new things. The timing is perfect. So it would help if, besides charging your crystals too, is to align. This is why people do a lot of meditation, so they kind of put their body, into the right state, their energy field, so that whatever needs to come in and whatever needs
but
to leave.
is that full moon or is that new moon?
Um, hmm.
I think it's new moon, probably. Okay.
To begin for new
Yeah.
beginnings.
Yeah. I think,
Okay.
of full moon has, I mean, it changes people's behaviors, full moon. Okay. And not just in the movies. Okay. It does affect you in a lot of different ways. Mostly, it reinforces anything positive in you. Okay. And possibly anything negative at
Right.
that time. Okay. So I was just thinking, I wonder how the chakras are affected by that full moon energy, and even if it's only for 24 hours, you know. Mm,
Everything, what I feel is everything is on high alert,
mm,
right? Kind of like um, just, we're ready to take in what needs to be taken in and learned, or changed, right?
mm,
We're kind of doing, we're enhancing our communication with the other world, right? As because it's like an antenna, like as the full moon starts, the antenna starts to go up, right, to collect all that energy that's out there that we're supposed to collect. That's how I feel. I wake up earlier on full moons. I go to bed, earlier too, so that I can, my cycle kind of changes with my sleep. I'm
mm,
hyper sensitive and aware, you know, or
mm,
other times of the month, perhaps I'm not as aware, but you're always aware anyway, just as an energetic person. I just
mm,
feel more heightened. So all the senses are being heightened. The
mm,
smell, the sound, what I'm seeing maybe becomes clearer too, right?
mm,
And that's the third eye chakra right there. Maybe my communication is changing. Maybe the way I look at things is going to start changing, right? Because I've gotten a few books here. Um, I don't mean to get away from the subject, but
no,
EQ.
mm,
I've read E squared. I don't have it. When I was going to move, I got rid of a lot of stuff, but I decided, to kind of, just kind of go back into it. And the Silva method, the Jose Silva method
no.
with meditation. I don't have the book in front of me. Oh, is this it? Yeah.
You know, I'm more a contemplator than a meditator. Okay.
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 Well,
Yeah.
I'm not a meditator either, but I can do it. I don't do
Mm,
it. I don't go under for like, a half hour or anything. I just do what I feel that I need to do to make the connection. It could be
mm,
less than 5 minutes. It could be more, you know. But both books are saying, and this is what everybody says, is to start your day out right. What is the universe going to give me? I mean, what's the treasure out there? That's what I say to the universe when I'm, especially at the beach. What treasure is going to come my way, right? And and it started with this new moon or this full moon, right? The books started
mm,
really getting into this one about the delta, beta, and alpha, and all those waves. But I can go into it. I go in and out all day long, read
mm.
by their definitions, you
Right.
know, because
Yeah.
when I'm exercising, I'm in a whole different wave, brain wave, right?
Yeah.
I
Mm,
really don't think when I'm exercising. I've noticed that. I've only
mm,
picked it up here lately, doing like maybe twice a day, heavy, I mean, heart pounding, stairs and walking up hills. When I go back home, which I'm going on the 22nd, somebody invited me to a pool party. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to wear a swimming suit, but I'm just like,
mm.
I want to look like I tried, you know?
Okay. Okay.
Oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm getting a little deltoid definition for my arms when I do you know what I mean? No, I'm not going to wear a tank top or anything, but I just notice when I look in the mirror.
Right. Right. Okay.
So
Mm,
it's given me a push, but it's made me tired too in the same token, the full moon. It's like sapping me
yeah.
a
Yeah.
little bit, but I'm not going to give up.
Mm,
I'm
mm,
tenacious
yeah. Yeah. That's great.
on certain things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm going to give it my, my best effort, you know, to look and act how I do all the other times. Because when you go back home, right, it's all you fall back right into your default where you are in the tribe.
Remind me where you are now.
Well, I'm in Seattle now, but I'll be going to Milwaukee and Madison in Wisconsin.
Okay, but you live in Seattle, don't you? That's
Hmm.
your home. Why do you say you're not at home now?
Oh, I'm at home, but because I consider was where I grew up
Oh,
home.
okay.
Yeah, sorry. Sometimes that's what they'll say. They'll say, "Well, I'm going back home,"
Oh,
you know,
okay. Okay.
to
Yeah, yeah.
to the family. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So, and it's a whole different. There's not a lot of, well, there are people like me, but they're isolated. They're here
Mm,
and there, and my tribe doesn't really hang around with them. Well, my uncle, he's a shaman and does a
mm.
lot of energy work, but he's a salesman, so he can't get rid of that ego, right? Well, why aren't you seeing your power animal? It's like, whoa, back off, dude. If I don't see it, I don't see it. You know what I mean? We're
Yeah,
not trying hard enough. Well, that's because you're hovering over me,
yeah.
to find one.
Mm, mm,
So
mm.
it's always the battle because I'm the more relaxed, let it flow. And he's like, you know, pounding. Why don't you own a home? Why aren't you make $150,000 a year? Anybody can do it. And it's like, yeah, but look what your family fell apart and your kids don't like you. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, you
yeah.
have to, yeah. So you have to find balance. It's all about balance and duality of life. If you can hang with one, you can hang with the other and not be so upset.
Mm, mm.
I know I'm all over the map today, but this is how I'm feeling, before I go back home. I'm always kind of anxious. I'm trying to
Sure.
bring things with me that'll make me feel good,
Mm.
clothes or books or something that I can go and hide and read.
Right. And you have to go? Is it a sort of tradition that you go, or is it something that you've
Yeah,
decided to
sort
do?
of. Well, when I was going to move last year back to Wisconsin, I had bought my brother a plane ticket, and then we canceled that. So I had to use up the credit by June. I
Okay.
didn't have to go anywhere, but I had to buy a ticket
Mm.
by June. And there's not a lot of places that I wanted to go. I
Okay.
could go
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Arizona, but and my niece's birthday is right around my birthday. Yeah, mine's like Labor Day. And so I usually kind of go home, to kind of celebrate the last of the summer, you
Yeah.
know, get my birthday presents,
Okay.
even if I have to fly 1,500 miles. You know what I mean? I just enjoy myself and have a good time. And
Great. That's great.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
try to, without trying to get too deep when people want to get,
Mm.
woo, they're, people are set in their ways too, especially during this pandemic.
All of us are. I don't think there's any exceptions.
I don't think so either.
The full moon comes and goes. Okay, so,
Right?
yeah,
Right? It
yeah,
does. Everything just keeps going. Everything just
yeah,
keeps moving. And the one thing that I did get from Andrew Huberman, I try to get something every day, to try to keep it going. And he's like, just forward movement. And so that's kind of been in the back of my mind. He's like, when you wake up, the first thing you need to do is go forward movement, you know, walking, going up and down stairs. And I'm like, yes, yes. He's, just so that body knows and the energy knows that you're moving forward,
mm,
right? And that's why summer is so great around here. But when that winter comes and you're in the rain and it's 38 degrees and you're like, I don't want it, but
mm,
still trying to do that movement forward and just enjoying, just taking in this time that we have in the summer to enjoy it,
right,
every
right,
minute that I can,
mm,
I don't want to miss,
mm,
kind of
mm,
thing.
mm, mm.
So, but it just puts a lot of pressure on me.
Yeah, yeah. But it's self-inflicted from the sounds of it.
Right. It is, so I got a nice sun hat because this being in the sun just fries my head, you know.
Yeah, me too.
Um,
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, I can't do it anymore. But yesterday was a really low tide.
Mm,
So I left work early for lunch and just, I can take vacation on Fridays. it's kind of slow. And
Right.
so I spent almost like 2 hours down there just, I mean, it kept going out as I kept walking, that shoreline, which is, I probably did like a mile and a half barefoot, you
Okay.
know,
Lovely.
in that
Lovely.
sand.
Okay.
And I
Yeah.
said to myself, this right now, just put this into your brain, wherever you guys keep it, for that rainy day, just the smell of the water, the feel of the sand squishing as you
Mm.
walk, and the coldness of the water, the chill of the water, and the sun beating down on you, the warmth of that, and kind of burning your arm a little bit.
Yeah. 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 Lovely. Lovely. The energy of the earth and the energy of the sun. Okay.
Oh,
Beautiful. Yeah.
nothing better. Nothing
Yeah.
better
Yeah. Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How long does it take you to get from your apartment to the beach walking?
Well, well, there's but my beach, right? There's like the beach, like Venice
No,
Beach,
your
kind of
beach, your
area.
closest beach.
My closest beach is about 5 minutes away. Well, walking is about maybe 12 minutes, but
Okay.
driving is 5 minutes. So
Okay.
what we do, me and my friend, is we park at the bottom of the hill, and then we walk up to my apartment,
Mm.
and it's all uphill,
Okay.
you know, freaking
Uh.
kills your legs. You're like, really, it's like you're breathing so hard, but you know what? That's the good thing about it
That is good.
is,
Yes. Yeah.
when you're breathing hard and deep and, you know, you
Yeah.
and like Huberman says, if you can get 150 minutes in a week of just heavy breathing, 20 minutes a day, walking up a hill or climbing stairs, so it makes your heart rate go up, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. You're right. Unless you've got sore calves.
Hmm.
I can't. LA get really bad walking uphill, um, even a slight uphill. Uh, so if I'm going to walk, I've got to try and walk on the level as much as possible. Yeah,
Oh, I hear you. I hear you.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm just doing this to try to help my legs, with the coming back of the blood, right? The pumping of the blood back up the legs,
Mm,
because I do sit a lot and I try not to. I try to get up all the time.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Very cognizant of it. Well, I have spider veins, right?
Hmm.
Like on the inside of my ankle,
Yeah, yeah.
there. And all up coming up my calf, and then I have a fairly large varicose vein, but it's always been there on my upper thigh,
Mm,
kind of.
mm. Yeah. You just hide them, man. They're not good
Well,
things
that's what
to.
a tan is for,
Yeah, yeah. That's right. Quite right. Yeah,
you
quite
know.
right. Yeah. There's not much you can do about them.
No, but they're breaking up a little bit, because sometimes, especially during the summer, if I walk after I work, then I take a nice cool bath and I'll pour, Epsom salt in there, draw out the
Mm,
lactic acid and any other acid that's in there. And I've noticed over time, walking is the best thing to help with those, the spider veins and the varicose veins. It just is. There's
mm.
not, I'm at weight wearing compression stockings, but I don't do well with that.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
it kind of makes it worse on me,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
And does diet have anything to do with it? 'Cause
Oh, of course. The more salt that I take in, you know, like I'll wake up and that spider vein in my ankle will be nothing, right? And then
mm,
throughout the day, just walking on it and eating salt, uh, uh, my ankle swells up, kind of
mm.
thing. But I've noticed, because I'm eating less salt and exercising more, that it's gone down, right? Like it
Okay.
wouldn't hurt. It just looked horrible.
Mm,
Let me see what it looks like now. Yeah, it's not as bad as it has been in the past with red
mm.
and swollen,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Um, but now that I know what the issue is, it's kidneys. It's the kidneys.
Yeah, it is the
That's
kidneys,
what that
quite right.
that's what that represents,
And
you know.
also, but yeah, I guess representatives, but certainly the kidneys are the issue, and salt is definitely an issue. Okay, I've also cut down. I used to have uh, abundance of salt before my blocked artery, and because from my research it was good. Okay, but it depends where you research. Now my research tells me don't add
Hmm.
if you can, the minimum
Yeah.
amount of salt. Okay, and so I used to make the excuse to well, it wasn't an excuse because I believed from what like Dr. Gundry was saying, that you have uh, you know sea salt, and then usually you can get it with added iodine, and iodine is you need the iodine for those sort of things that we're speaking about, and so I would then have that. Then I'd have Himalayan salt, um, for a whole lot of other reasons. Okay, and and basically, added salt is not good overall. Have it for a little bit of taste here and there. I made some vegetable soup yesterday. Well, it wasn't vegetable soup. It was celery and onion and beetroot. Okay, three really interesting ingredients in those three things. The nutrients are amazing. Okay, um, and I I put too much Himalayan salt in, and so it
Mm.
came out as very salty. And so yeah, then you just got to add something that sort of takes away the salt. I added some rice milk to it, and that took some of the salt away. My wife added some cream, dairy cream. She still does dairy, and so yeah, that's how we got through it. But it was too much salt, and I was just wanting to put that edge when I created it, because I never measure anything when I cook. Never. Okay.
I know, right? Me neither.
I just say a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And I might look at a recipe to sort of get an idea, and I think, gosh, I haven't got that ingredient, I haven't got that. Let's just go with it, And the most important thing is to get the whole nutrient, to get the whole plant nutrient. And so yeah, that's
Yeah.
how.
And I've been upping my potassium because I was getting muscle cramps when I really worked hard out. I worked out hard one day, and I was reading a lot and hearing a lot about potassium.
Hmm.
And when I used to take a diuretic, I would have to take this big horse pill of potassium, right? Because you pee a lot and you had to replace all that, right? Well, because I drink a lot of water, I go to the restroom a lot anyway. So I noticed that I would get muscle cramps in the middle of the night,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
it's because I was low in potassium. It all went back to being low in potassium. So the prescription one is filled with God a lot, probably half of what you need in a day, which is like 4,700 milligrams, right? And the supplements are only 99 milligrams. So you would have to take, 40 for what, a lot.
Right.
So I'm not taking the diuretic, but upping my potassium has taken away the heart palpitations. Like when I would just lay down at night, my heart would just, and then, and all the symptoms led to that. And now that I'm taking that high dosage, that
Hmm.
stopped. Like,
Hmm.
okay, so the muscle cramp came on in the middle of the night, but it was like this really like dull muscle cramp. And it's because I had taken that high dose of potassium. And so in that same night, if I eat too much salt or something happens, so that first muscle cramp was like right around my ankle. And I think it was from walking like 1,000 stairs that day, or
Hmm. Hmm.
that morning, right? It was a
Hmm.
lot of stairs. And and then if I eat too much salt, like on chips or something, there's something in that salt that my body does not like at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
my whole
Yeah.
thigh would just, you know, and So it came 3 o'clock, and I could sense, the muscle twisting, but then going back out
Mm,
because I'd taken that high dose of potassium.
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's this
So
message that's come up here? Sorry, I'm just
the
got
remaining
10
meeting time.
minutes. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So when I was on that diuretic, I didn't have muscle cramps or any of these issues because I was on that high dose of potassium.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, but again, you say it often, it's all about balance, okay?
Yeah.
So don't take too much potassium if you're
Oh
not
no.
taking the other, elements that need to be taken at the same time. They work together. Potassium does not work by itself. Okay.
No. No, I do take magnesium too.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I realize that. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, do you
So
eat
I am
bananas?
careful.
Do you
Hmm?
eat bananas?
I'm not really a banana person. I would love to, but it's still bananas don't supply, all the potassium. And I do eat, I eat salad every day, and
Mm. Well,
that's
again,
some
it depends
potassium.
what's in your salad, you see.
This is true.
And it also depends, whether you eat legumes and beans and things as well. Okay, so you've really got to be clear in your own head, what you're eating from day to day, week to week, month to month, because your body stores a lot of what you're eating. Okay, um, and certain too much of something can become toxic, okay, in your body.
Yes.
And so it's very important to know your body because each of us are slightly different. But then also not to overdo anything. You can get too much vitamin D, for example, okay, if you're taking supplements, okay, and because your body stores it, okay, it's fat soluble. So without knowing it, you think, vitamin D, all these beautiful things that vitamin D does, okay? And so you take the tablets and you could become toxic and it can cause a lot of different illnesses if your body's storing too much vitamin D.
Right. No,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, and I try to really, find that balance. I kind of can intuit, what I need
Mm,
after all these years, right?
yeah, yeah.
And what my diet is like compared to what I need as far as, supplements or vitamins,
Mm, mm,
and you can muscle test it as well too,
yeah,
or you can, do the pendulum type of
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, you must have something like that because, I mean, vitamins, um, uh, just about everything except vitamin C, is fat soluble, okay, and it's stored in the body, okay. The
Yeah.
vitamin C is water soluble, okay. Uh,
Yes.
but even your all your B vitamins, which in your salads and so on, if you start supplementing any of those, you could land up with too much and you don't know it and you don't know what's causing this pain, that pain, or this disease or that disease, and so it comes back to your famous word, and that is balance. Okay.
I was in so much pain. I remember, a couple years ago that I was in so much pain. It was because of the food that I was eating, and the soda that I was drinking. And I didn't realize it for, probably 3 years. Well, just this past year. Um, but
mm,
yeah, how much food, oh my God, it just changed my life. And I try to tell people, like this prophet, walking around, watch your diet, don't do this, don't do that, or, cut it down, if you can't cut it out.
mm,
And I'm just living proof of
yeah.
change your diet, change your life. Not only change, and it changes your thinking. You don't have that foggy brain, you don't have that paranoid brain, you don't have that frustration brain going on. I mean, I
Right.
was really frustrated. I was in, why? Because I was in a lot of pain
Mm, yeah. I understand
and
that.
it pro- and had a clogged liver and a clogged gallbladder. That'll make anybody angry,
Mm,
you
mm,
know.
yeah.
And when you got a hot thing like that, hot organs, and you don't know it. I mean, I kind of knew it, but not to the extent that I do now
Yeah, yeah. And
after
the,
changing everything.
and the problem is that historically, the type of doctors that we've been going to over the past 50 years don't know it. Okay. Um, and so, but there's a great emergence now of functional doctors and, really doctors that perhaps know both sides of the equation. Um, and yeah, um, my eldest daughter just introduced me to a doctor I didn't know existed in Southern Africa, Dr. Serena, and with this blood clock and so on. Her and her husband, who are both doctors, have manufactured something that they've made for their patients. Okay, they do sell it, but it's not marketed in any way aggressively or something. So their patients can come and buy it. And like my daughter's a patient of theirs, they can buy it. And my daughter sent me a gift of it. It arrived a day or two ago. You probably can't see it there.
Immuno?
Immuno clean. It's an immune solution, and I've been reading on the website, and so I didn't know about it before. Okay, and I know very little now. I mean, it's only just arrived, and my daughter was very kind to give me a gift of it, and you basically there are two bottles. I've just if you just get there's a bottle one and a bottle two. Okay, and you take 3 drops of the one and 3 drops of the other into a glass, let them activate each other. Okay, that's what's got to happen. Then you put water in and drink it. Okay, and so it's like a new world to me. I'm looking forward to seeing how it actually all unfolds. So I'm busy studying their website and looking at the things they send out on Telegram, and so yeah, and hopefully it's going to cleanse a lot of issues that are sitting dormant in my body. That's the immunoclean is what it's called. So, but I when I do something, I allow myself to do something like that. Then I go in boots and all. Okay, no half measures. Okay, and they talk about the full moon. Okay, and they talk about the ideal time to cleanse with, let's say, like pumpkin seeds and combinations of other things, is on full moon. Okay, the energy is at its highest, and so I've just missed, I guess, the full moon and the ingredients. They've got 3 different cleansers on their website, and so I was this morning before I got up to come to your meeting. I read through them, and on all 3 different types of cleanse, you choose one of them. Okay, one of them probably I had most of the ingredients, but not all of them. Okay, the others I don't have anything. And the first one, you got to take castor oil. I haven't taken castor oil for a long time.
So we have less than a minute. Do we want to come back? Do you want to come back and meet up again?
Yeah. What about you? How's your time? Are you going to the beach?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I got all my errands and housework done.
Yeah. No, when we finished, Sue and I are going to go out for a cup of coffee. So, but there's no rush for that. The Sunday and Mondays are our 2 days where she has the least classes. And so then we sort of treat those 2 days as going out, because otherwise she's full up all day long, working flat out. She's on teaching Chinese English. most time consuming. And then she's got quite a lot of Get Set Up classes.
So she's really busy.
Yeah, she really is, and she's waiting for her new visa to come through, where she'll be able to teach in schools, and of course they pay a livable sort of an amount. She won't be full time, but just part time, compared to, you know, teaching Chinese English is pittance. Okay, but it's got to be done, and so yeah, I'm getting very few Get Set Up classes. I'm only getting 4. I've only by the end of next week it will be 4 that I've had for the month, which is nothing. I mean that pays me less than $100, okay, for the month. Okay.
Right.
And it's a lot of preparation, because they tell me I mustn't prepare. I must just repeat what I did the previous month, and I just can't do that. Okay. So I had one yesterday morning, my morning, which would be your Friday evening. Okay. And it's a story about people in business over 55. And what could be more boring than repeating the previous month, you know?
Right. Yeah. They know, right? People know. It's like telling the same, the comedian telling the same, thing.
Yeah, it is,
show after
absolutely.
show.
Because I have a certain number of people that come to all my classes. Okay, even if they don't tune in to the actual Zoom, they're in the lounge. And so, interestingly enough, the one that I launched with on Saturday morning, your Friday, was Twyla. Okay, she was one of the winners of Get Set Up entrepreneur competition, and she won.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think she lives somewhere around you, somewhere there, in that part of America, anyway. But I wanted to bring her onto the show and interview her, but she was traveling, so she couldn't. And but it's interesting. She now has a story with which she now incorporates into her business. Okay, it's so interesting, and you will find it interesting if you go to her website. Okay, but she was first of all, she was a vegetarian. Okay, then she became a vegan, and now she's progressed to a whole plant-based diet. Okay, which is different to being a vegan, as you know. So yeah, it's what I'm on, as a whole plant-based diet, and so she's now promoting that. Okay, and her job is so interesting, is that she is becoming an influencer. Okay, and
wow.
Yeah, and so she went on one program and she talks about it, and I played a video in my class of her, the interview, where she went and did some demonstrations of whole plant eating in a person's shop. Somebody Bean something other, or his Bean's got a bean shop. The name's just not familiar, and a familiar name for me, but clearly a familiar name. I think it's called Chili Bean or something, a restaurant or something like that, or chain of restaurants. And she went in there and did a cooking demonstration, and the shop got 78 new customers online. Okay. And she said, well, why don't you pay me for those? Okay. And he said, sure, absolutely. And he immediately paid her and has continued being an influencer for that shop. Okay. Isn't that amazing?
Love it.
And she also goes to Sacramento University. Okay. Where's Sacramento compared to where you are?
It's southeast from here in California.
Yeah. Okay. So she goes
to Northern California, northern central.
Okay. and she does she did a lecture there and goes there regularly to talk about plant-based, and she was saying the interest is just growing so strongly in whole plant-based. She said the another university, a library at the university invited her, okay, and they took bookings for to come in, and they had to change the venue because there were too many people. The venue was too small, okay. And I love hearing those stories. You know, it really is super. You know, it shows that there's a movement now towards something that just hasn't been there in the past 100 years. Okay, absolutely. So you know, in a sense, we might even be going backwards. Maybe it was there 200 years ago. Okay, where people used to eat off the land. Okay, and so yeah, I'm interested in following her and keeping links. She sends out an email once a month, apparently. So I'll see what comes there, and it's great because she was in a lot of my classes in Get Set Up, okay, just as a learner, okay, and you know, she compliments me with, and yeah, so it was really so interesting to find her having won one of the winners. There were 5 winners, 2 Indians and 3 Americans and North Americans, and she was one of those, and so she's going all out now, and but so interesting. She had something on her bucket list that was of interest. Okay, all her life on her bucket list was she wanted to become a dancer for the Rolling Stones band.
Why not, right? I mean, heck, they're in their 70s, you know.
And you know what? Get Set Up sponsored her, and last month she danced with the Make Believe Rolling Stones, a band, okay, that dresses like the Rolling Stones and looks like the Rolling Stones and sings like the Rolling Stones, and apparently very popular in America. And so there she was, like, on TikTok video dancing, okay, and she's over. I don't know what her age is actually now, but must be well over 60 or 70, okay. And there she is dancing with the Rolling Stones.
I love it. I love it. All you
too.
gotta do is put it out there. The universe is trying to get it made, you know, trying to, you know, get you to that point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I could just cry about the times that the universe, you know, I say I want this, and it's given it to me, you know,
Right.
and it may not be the path that I would choose sometimes,
yeah.
you know, because I got to control everything. And you know what I mean? And part of that whole thing in balance is letting go. What are you taking with you? You know, is that juice worth the squeeze that you're taking? And you know, I've just had to let stuff go. I don't care if that person was mean to me, you know, and they shot a tennis ball at my neck, you know, because I was fat, you know. There's, you know, good thing I'm not black and fat, you know. I probably would be getting a lot of respect nowadays, but you know, what I'm saying is that, you know, when you're chubby, people, there's a certain generation of men who do not like fat people.
You
know, there's, or a certain, I would say, a certain personality type out there that's not generational. It's, you know,
I don't know what, you know, here in Australia, most people are fat, okay, particularly
really?
female. Yeah.
I just would never think that.
No, you wouldn't, okay, because I guess one sees only the sports people, but you know, and they do very well in sport. But generally, the women in your next door neighbors, in your suburbs, and so on, are all overweight, okay, and you know, it's just the diet that they have, and it's their lifestyle, really. Okay. The men not so much. Okay. And but the men have enormous stomachs because they know how to drink in Australia. Wow.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and they love their meat, and so they have a lot of heart disease. Okay, they do have it. Okay, but yeah. Anyway, that's you were talking about waking up in the morning. What I do when I wake up in the morning is my first thought is, what can I do for you, universe, today? What can I do for you? Um, and
Wow.
and yeah, and I find that really starts my day, because when I start getting ideas, like, maybe I can weed my garden. Okay, maybe I can put some fertilizer in. Oh, that's another thing. When you fertilize your garden, do it on full moon, or do it just before full moon. Okay. Which is also interesting. Yeah. And when you're planting vegetables, you plant certain vegetables when like now the moon is waning, and then you get waxing. So the waxing are vegetables that produce on the top of the ground and waning under the ground. Okay. So you do beetroots between now and new moon. Okay. And yeah. So there's all sorts of interesting things to do with the moon and the energy, and we know about energy, you and I. Okay, and so this is really a universal energy that's people have worked with since time immemorial. Okay, they really have.
Yeah.
And until the whole fertilizer thing came along. Last night, I read a really interesting article about a scientist who won a Nobel Prize before the First World War. Okay, and he won it because farmers then were farming, and farming all the nutrients out of the ground. Okay. But they had the sense to put the nutrients back. And the way, for example, let's just take nitrogen, which is the chemical and nitrate is very important in our bodies as human beings. Okay. And you often don't get it with organic vegetables. Okay. But let's go back to him. And so what the world was doing in order to supplement what was taken out of the soil in mass farming or planting was bird poo, okay, which they would find most on islands all over the place for hundreds of years, where the birds or the seagulls are pooed, okay, and they would go and collect this, and everywhere, all the countries around the world before the First World War would go and do that, okay, and they would then put it on the land, and that was it. But guess what? It ran out, okay, the quantity that was needed, because they were digging from islands of the things and hills of the stuff that had been built up over maybe a million years, I don't know, okay, but a long time, hundreds of years. Now they cleared it. Now they didn't have an answer, okay, and that could have been the start of the decline of humanity, if you like, because you need the nitrates that's naturally in the soil, but the plants take them up, obviously. So this scientist that won the Nobel Prize, I'm talking about decades and decades of experimentation, discovered ammonia, okay? And so that served the purpose. Ammonia in the soil turned to nitrates, okay? And he was applauded, okay? And he didn't get the Nobel Prize for that, and it changed the world. Everybody then put up factories to produce ammonia, okay, nitrates, and the plants and the humans then really multiplied themselves. Okay, and it was great. Okay, but he was a German Jew. Okay, and the interesting thing with him was that the First World War came. Okay, and of course Germany was in the First World War, a dominant factor. Okay, and right near the beginning of the war, they ran out of gunpowder. Okay, and if they couldn't find an alternative, they would have just withdrawn from the war. Okay, because there was no gunpowder. This scientist, the same scientist, okay, discovered that his ammonia acid, or his fertilizer, let's call it, okay, could be turned into a gunpowder. Okay, and so he turned it into a gunpowder, and the German army used it for the whole war. Okay, but he now went further. Okay, because he was a patriot, a German patriot. Okay, he, from that same substance, ammonia, he created a poisonous gas. Okay, and what happened was Germany mass produced this poisonous gas and he had added stuff in it to keep it on the ground, okay, like a fog, okay. And the Germans used it against the Allied forces, where hundreds of thousands of people were poisoned and killed, including they used it against Russia as well. And so he was like a hero, and he got promoted in the army and all the rest of it. Okay, and then after the war, German, I think it was in Stuttgart or something, that promoted him for the Nobel Prize. Okay, and all his colleague scientists refused to attend. Okay, because he was a murderer, and the same gas was used in the concentration camps against his Jewish colleagues. Okay, the same gas.
Oh my God!
Yeah, and he won a Nobel Prize for his
For the gas.
For everything that he had done as a scientist.
For everything.
Yeah, the gas, the poison, the gunpowder, and the ammonia.
And the nitrogen, ammonia.
Yeah.
Oh my! Was that mustard gas?
They didn't in the article call it mustard gas. Okay, they called it ammonia. Okay, and but I'm not sure of that, because I only read it yesterday. And
because that's the gas they used in World War One.
Yeah, he made it. This scientist made the gas that was used in World War One.
It's so like you're saving humanity and killing humanity.
That's exactly what the article said. You're saving humanity with the fertilizer now, and the heading had something to do with he saved millions through his fertilizer. Okay, but he killed hundreds of thousands or millions as well.
Sure.
Absolutely. It's so interesting how things have evolved in different little sectors. But anyway.
That's a very interesting story. I mean, there's morals in there. There's ethics. There's all this.
Absolutely. I'll send you the link if I can put my hand on it again. Because it was just online. I came across it by mistake, and well, nothing's by mistake, but I came across it, and really,
unbelievable. Yeah. So I was going to go back to the pre-exercises that you were asking about when they do the meditation.
Yes.
That's to open up your chakras. Well, like they say, it's to open up your chakras. Well, when you're moving, side to side, and then they go back and forth. That's the I always forget how to say it, but it's the you know, where you move your cerebral spinal fluid, right? And that
Okay.
connects to your third eye. That's why you go around, you know, this way, and then back and back. That makes that move up and down,
Yeah.
right?
Thanks for sending me that,
Mhm.
and I really appreciate that. And I have started using it. Um, and I actually need to put it on a document and print it so I can actually do it in a different location. At the moment, I do it in front of my computer with your open. Uh, but yeah, thank you for
But
that.
yeah,
That's
so
valuable. I could
what they're
feel the
doing
difference. Mm,
is opening, because if you, okay, so like your neck and your hips are where you keep, if they're not open, you trap that emotional energy, right? You
yeah.
can't get rid of it. And so and that's why people have neck pain. That's one
Mm,
of the top reasons. And hip pain, right?
yeah.
Because they got tight hips kind
Yeah.
of thing. And I have found, you know, because, you know, it's another vagus nerve thing. It just
Mm,
is. Um, you know, moving my neck and moving my hips, you know, really, wow, man, they're, you know, I just don't think about these things anymore, and I just do them. You know, like I'll just be standing there, you know, in line at the grocery store, and I'll just be doing my exercises, rotating my eyes, you
right.
know. And they're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing my eye exercises," you know, which
Yeah.
is very important to keep those muscles, um, you know, loose, right? That's how you get cataracts and everything, besides bad diet and age, you
Yeah.
know, is that fat and the sugar, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Leads to a lot of things.
Mm,
I mean, you know, gluten, fat, and sugar, you're just like, I can't eat anything. But you know, and I get it. People are like, I can't eat anything if that's what I can't, you know, if I can't eat those things.
yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
I go to
Yeah.
lunch with my friend every month. You know, she's retired, so we don't we used to work together, right? And you know, she's just like, you're just looking better and better every time I see you. You
Yeah.
know, well, because I'm tan, right? That
Mm.
helps, you know, to give you that kind of glow, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But you know, just you know, over because people sense your energy,
Mm.
right? it, it, what they're set, they can look at you and you look wonderful and you have great looking clothes on, you know, and your makeup and everything. But what they're really sensing is your energy,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So when I go out to lunch with her, I'm happy, right? Because I
Mm.
get to see her and we get to, you know, gossip and chit chat and, you know,
Right.
and all this stuff. And,
Mm.
you know, and she's just a delight, you know. And
Right.
so,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
why wouldn't
That's
I
a,
feel and look great, you know?
absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, thanks for those exercises. They're going to come in very handy. I know that. And
Yeah, and then
uh,
Prune Harris, she probably put out her new August energy update where she, you know, says whether it's a wood or a metal or a water type of month, you know,
mm.
so, you know, do these energy movements to keep things, you know, moving. I really like her. I love her accent, you know.
Okay.
I just really like her, and I like the Yochi. I like Marissa. I love that. She's just so calm and sweet, and you know, it's just
Yeah.
really such a what you want a Qigong instructor to be, you
Right.
know.
Right. Right. Okay.
They taught
Uh,
me so much, so much. These are the two people I used when I first started doing my, you know, energy movement classes.
mm.
I would watch and watch and watch their videos, you know, and write stuff down and why you're doing it and what it represents when you do this. You know, is it your kidneys, you know, that you're touching here or something like your lungs, you know, or
Yeah.
over here. And, you know, they really, you know, were my teachers during
Right.
this time.
Okay. Okay. That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, so I really, you know, I'd love to meet them in person, but yeah, you know, I would love to be like them and share
Mm.
what I have. I have a lot of knowledge, you
Mm.
know,
Mm.
and been through a lot, and like you know, have changed things, you know, for the better.
Mm. Talking about that, I got an aha moment during the week. Um, I've decided to, uh, as a hobby, write stories for my grandchildren. Okay. and I've written the first one. Okay, and Sue said she'll illustrate it because she likes working with publisher. Okay, and then what we will do is as the children's birthdays come up, I'll write an ebook because they range in age from 6 months to 20 years old. So I don't know what I'll do for the two that are in the 20s, but I will do something. But our first experiment with the young ones, fortunately, the first one is just turning 1 year old, in a couple of weeks, so that's fine. Okay, and then the next birthday, I think turning 11 or 12, and I will deal with that one too. But so I'm going to create stories to give away as presents. Okay.
Yes.
And so that's great. And as soon as and we've got a fun room where we've got our own nice solid wooden tables in this little room. Each got our own table, Sue and I. When I sat there and I started writing the story. And then when I'd finished the story, there was my paint pad, my pad with paper in it. I just opened it and I just started painting an infinity sign. Okay, and I then wrote across it. Okay, in large print. So, and what came to my mind at that moment. Okay, something like "Let the darkness be swallowed by light" or something like that. Okay, that wasn't the exact words, but they don't come to mind right now. And I just started painting, experimenting, just with some watercolor paints that I've got, and I thought I've got to start sometime again, okay, because it's been a long time since I picked up a paintbrush. Okay, I don't know, 5 or 6 years maybe. Okay, and so yes, a lot has happened in the last week. Okay, when
I love it. I love it.
yeah.
And next month I start my #1. I start a new year. My own personal year starts. I'm going to be in a
Oh, when's your
#3
birthday
year.
again? You mentioned your birthday earlier. When is it?
September 5th.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
it's Labor Day here. It's on a Monday.
yeah, it's not here. It's nothing.
Yeah, you guys don't
Yeah.
have Labor Day like we do.
No,
It's a
no.
holiday.
Yeah.
So I'll be 59, which reduces to a number 5, which is a number of change.
Okay.
So at a personal year of number 3, which is socializer, harmonizer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be getting more probably into social media. I'll be kind of pushed that way, whether I realize it or not, right? Because the tide, right, kind of carries me, right? Look what happened this past year when I started the year number 2.
Yeah.
Which was all about groups and partnerships and relationships and building of those bases.
And that certainly happened for you, eh?
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, I did. With good setup and other things too, and other groups as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So now
even this one that you mentioned now that you've joined, the one you were telling me about, the exercises. Yeah.
Yeah, and with the Spiritualist Church, I'm a trustee on the board, and so during the church, right, it's all about mediumship, but not a lot of people are getting, messages. So they rely on me to do card readings, which I was going to pull a card or two for you. I'll find my deck. I've got to clean this place up before I go on vacation. I'll tell you that much.
Yes, you must. You want to come back to a spick and span and tidy
home.
Right?
Before I go on vacation, I clean everything. Because I always say, what if I die? I don't want somebody coming into a messy place.
That's a lousy reason.
Right. So I talked to my cousin. I told her, I told him, oh, this is, this may sound strange to you. And he goes, no, it's not.
Yeah.
He goes, I do it too, Michelle. And I said, oh my God, we must be related, Yeah. And where did that deck go? Well, I don't need that deck, but I need, I like that deck. hold on, just give me a minute here
Okay.
or a second. Here they are. So anyway, so I become
Oh, we're running out of
card
time again.
reader.
So you got 10 minutes. Okay.
Okay. Well, it won't take that long. So I become the card reader. So it takes about a half hour because there's like a dozen people, right,
Mm,
to do this. And usually I end up with now 2 cards per person instead of 1. And I'm using the numerology deck by Michelle Buchanan, who I really like,
okay.
as a
Right.
numerologist.
Right.
And this one guy's like, Michelle, you just pulled the perfect cards for me. And he goes, while you were pulling other people's cards, I pulled cards and I pulled a number 6. I was like, shut up, that's my number,
Yeah. Yeah.
my life path number.
Yes. All right. Yeah. Mine being an
And
H. Yeah.
so he's actually near Sacramento, which is funny that you say that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
So anyway, but so everybody's like, "Ooh, you guys should get together." It's like that does not make a relationship. You know what I mean? You gotta have more than just picking
Yeah.
cards,
Yeah. Yeah.
But I just thought it funny how the elderly women were all like, oh, these
Yeah.
2 should get together. I was
Yeah.
like, no, I don't think so. So anyway, the 2 cards I have for you are leadership, which is
Okay.
card number 81.
81. Okay.
And so that reduces to a number 9,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
your personal year.
Yes.
And the other
Okay.
card, spiritual partnership,
Okay. 27.
which is
Okay.
27, which reduces to a 9.
Okay.
You got
Okay.
2 9s. Your
Absolutely.
9th personal year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
See these, and when I resonate with the deck, I
Yeah.
can't. It's
You
just
can't go
like
wrong.
you can't.
Can't go
No,
wrong.
I
I get my
was
cards out.
hitting-
I've got 3 different packs actually, but I haven't. They packed away somewhere. I haven't used them for quite a time. Yeah, but that's so
Right.
interesting. Thank you for doing those cards. Okay.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
So the other thing, we're talking about one of the first things that we do in the morning, even before I get out of bed is, being grateful for everything, grateful, thankful, and appreciative,
Mm,
to kind of start my day and then moving forward, right? Doing that forward movement, whether it be walking the stairs, just going around the block, at 4:30 in the morning. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I love it. I love that I'm the only one out there. Me and the full moon were the only ones out there the other night or other
Okay.
morning,
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just really great before, the whole, city kind of wakes up and the buses start and the trucks and the everything, just that kind of solitude. It's dark. It's kind of chilly, even for summer, but it's just,
Yeah.
it's me in the world, kind
Yeah.
of, if you need to come in, I'm here kind of thing.
Mm.
And when I lose anything or I'm looking for anything, I say to the universe, present it when you're good and ready to show me where it is, and then I take it out of my mind, and no sooner than I do that, I see it.
Right. Right.
When people
Okay.
talk about, finding things that are lost,
Yeah.
I let go. I let go and let God.
That's fantastic. That.
Yeah.
Yeah. What crosses your mind first thing in the morning or what you do is so important. It's just not just necessary for the day, but for the rest of your life. Yeah. It's
It is.
yeah.
You don't want to wake up angry and mad,
Yeah, but sometimes you can't help it, okay, because of what you dreamt about, and you wake up and you're in a certain frame of mind, and yeah, and it can be negative. I mean, you might have had a really bad night's sleep, okay, and that will influence how you wake up. So you can't, and you got to be careful. I believe I'm trying not to be mechanical and say, well, I'm just going to say I'm happy and I'm not. Acknowledge that whatever's in your mind, okay, and maybe even ask yourself why. okay, if it's not relative, okay. But you can say, okay, what does the universe want me to do today? How can I contribute to the evolvement of the universe? Okay.
Right.
And then that changes your frame of mind.
Now I like yours. What can I do for you? Instead
Yeah,
of,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
what can you do for me type
Mm,
of thing, which is not what
yeah.
I ask for. I'm just aware of maybe they, some things like they make me go in a different direction, right?
Mm,
So then I didn't get near the accident,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So now I'm understanding, oh, there's a purpose behind them, making me late
Mm,
or
mm,
putting this in my way. They're trying to hold me back,
mm.
right, from being in a situation that probably wouldn't be good for me. I've had that happen many times. So I don't get upset.
Right.
Oh, I'm going to be late. It's like, don't worry. Don't worry. They'll get you there on time, just maybe in a different, way,
Mm.
you know.
And maybe you're not going to be on time. And
Is it
so
the end of
what?
the world?
Absolutely.
Probably
Absolutely.
not.
No, no.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just adding stress to your whole physical body and into your energy. Okay. And closing, I guess, certain chakras because of that stress. Okay. So, yeah.
Yeah, and the ego's like, they're gonna fire you. Well, I've not ever been fired,
Mm,
from this organization. You
yeah.
know, there's no reason for them to fire me, so just shut up, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now I'm
Yeah.
kind of like in this learning mode because I can tell things are changing and evolving at work, right?
Mm,
So my
mm.
job is evolving too with it,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I was really busy last week and I felt good about it.
Mm,
Which I'm not usually busy at work. It's just tedious work. I call it busy work.
yeah. Yeah.
You're not using your brain. And this past week, I had to really think it through,
Mm,
to find the answer.
yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, trying to not get into this lazy mode of thinking and always trying to learn and keep that brain active, you
Mm,
know.
mm.
And the other thing is crossing. Remember, I told you got to cross
Yeah.
your things to hook up both sides of your brain.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's one of the first things I do after I do some forward movement
Mm,
is I cross my my brain. I make sure both sides are working, and then I
yeah.
tap on this forehead, right, to bring blood into my forebrain. So I
Yeah.
give myself the best advantage to, make the best
Absolutely.
decisions.
And you've seen it manifested in your life. I mean, you're a happy soul these days.